Hey. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Dash It Out Show. Okay, my name is Vic Dash Tour, if those who don't know, and those who do know. Okay, and this is the Dash It Out Show. This is an all-new episode, which means there's an all-new co-host. Today, my co-host is Charles Thompson. Let me rephrase that. Too much fluid. Okay, back at it. Charles Thompson is my co-host for this episode, okay? He's a politician, business owner, biologist, chemist, bouncer, bartender, philosopher, psychologist, football coach.
A few moments later.
Former drug dealer, comedian, and podcaster. So let's get right into this motherfucking episode because right now we have a lot to chop it up with Charles Thompson, okay?
Don't hold back how you feel. Welcome to the platform for the misunderstood and creatives alike. So roll a joint and pour a shot. You're listening to the Dash It Out podcast, the show that brings your after hours talk to daytime. No wrong opinions and all unfiltered. With your host, Vic Dash Tour.
Hey!
How you doing?
Dash It Out Show. How you feeling, buddy?
I'm good. Just trying to set this light up to get it to look a little better back here. If I put my head on, everything's backlit and it's horrible. And the normal.
Yeah. Oh, loyalty. Loyalty. And all I need is loyalty. Huh.
Stop it.
But yeah, go ahead. But for the most part, go ahead, my man. Get comfortable. Get situated. No stress, no press. We just be chilling and vibing here on the Dash It Out Show. For the most part, I went ahead and just introduce you to everybody. So that's typically like what I do. I mean, the host, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
But you are my co-host, so therefore, hey man, it's a partnership. Nothing too serious and nothing too literal. So although I went ahead and introduce you to everybody on the show, can you go ahead and tell them about who you are, what you're about, but overall, how is everything going with you?
Everything's going the best it can for the situation, you know? Life gets a little harder with all these weird rules against you, but you gotta keep making that money, getting that house payment, and keeping my head above water and moving forward.
You know, that's correct. Situation with aggravation, but never hesitation to succeed. I know that.
Can't let it stop you.
My man.
If you ever let it stop you, you'll never get started again. You got to get that boulder moving up the hill, and you got to keep it going once it's going.
Nah, for real though, that's facts. It's facts. Once you get that ball moving, keep it moving. Don't be like me here on the Dash It Out Show when we had a whole hiatus for almost 2 years.
Ooh.
It's only because I was going back to school, everybody, and I moved, from DC to New York, and there was a lot of things that was happening.
Yeah, it changes a lot. Like, you'd be surprised how much you're in doing one thing, and you just got to reorganize what you're doing and keep moving forward. And it looks like, and what's funny is in those moments, you feel like you're stopped because you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing. But you understand that you're doing this to get to the situation to do those, so you are still moving forward. You're just not exactly where you want to be.
All right, Charles. So go ahead and tell all the listeners and everybody about who you about and what you do and all that good stuff and all that good jazz and, give everybody a little bit of perspective of who you are. Although I already introduced you, coming from you, we'll validate it a little bit more.
Got it, no problem. My name is Charlie Thompson. I'm from Alabama, Huntsville. I ran for Congress in 2022. I lost and then became the campaign manager of one of the people of a person who beat me. And I took them all the way to the finals. They lost. But the point is I've, got a background in politics. My intent is to run again once I have the money because unlike the rich guys or the people who's well connected who can get millions and millions of dollars, I'm just a regular guy. For me, it takes a lot more work to get because money is the ultimate cheat sheet. I do regular jobs. I've done security. I have a biology and chemistry degree. I coach college football. I've done a bunch of weird things. I've got a lot of chances to show that I can do things at levels most people can't. Lucky for me, I was born gifted. So I try to have fun. I really want to be the person everybody needs in this world. everybody's looking for the person. Either they pray to him or whatever, but I'm that person, and I want to show to the world I'm that person. Because once the world sees what I can do, and I know the words are one thing, because talk is cheap. I believe talk is cheap. So I say it because to me, I want to make sure my actions always validate my speech. So my talk is not cheap. It is weighted, because what I say I'm going to do is what I want to do. It's what I will do, because I am here to benefit other people. I don't really care what happens to me as long as I get the chance to show everybody else who I am, so I can show them what the best I can be is. And hopefully that'll set a world up to where more people can have a chance to be the best version of them.
Wow. Okay, that was definitely the soldier coming up with with the firearms, and the gladiator coming up with the sword. I love it. Very strong felt, and heartfelt as well. It's all the felts and all that good shit.
Yeah.
So you say you're from Alabama. What part of Alabama?
I'm from Huntsville. It's North Alabama. Within the last few years, we have passed Birmingham, and we're now the largest city in the state. We've had a lot of influx of people because, whereas Birmingham was a steel city and a lot of industrial, and it left the area, so they stopped their growth. We're a city that was based on NASA and military, and because of that, our base has been expanding, and so therefore the people that we've got a lot of transplants. It's a growing area. What you think about Alabama, what you hear from Reddit and jokes like that, this is a part of Alabama where that isn't what you'll see. Like, now, if you go to other parts of the state, you may see somebody like, man, I think his sister is also his wife. You can see that. I've seen it myself even. But where I'm at, it's a very diverse place. It's an interesting place because I moved to Virginia a while back for a few years, trying to see a new perspective on life, get to live on the ocean and see things differently. And one of the people that he said, this is something you're going to find surprising. People talk about Alabama being racist, but where you're at in Alabama isn't like any place else. You're going to sit here and I was sitting in a room right then. It was a black guy, a Mexican guy, a white guy, another black guy. I mean, it was a very, very racially diverse room, and everybody was just cool. He says, you're going to see that other places, even places up north, are more racist than you would ever expect it. There's going to be more differences than you ever expected.
Oh, fuck no. You said Virginia, right? Okay. A little history for everybody who don't know, but those who do know. Okay. I'm originally from the DMV, DC, Maryland, Virginia. More specifically DC, but I'm also equipped to Maryland, Virginia as well. So you said that you moved to Virginia for quite some time. What part of Virginia?
I was in Virginia Beach because I was hanging out with my friends in the Navy, so I spent a lot of time around Norfolk, Hampton, and that area. And you did notice
that's the Commonwealth. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. For everybody who don't know, Virginia is predominantly a Commonwealth state. So
I believe it and Massachusetts are the only two.
Yeah. So when you said you're Southerner, been from the South or whatnot. Yes, there's a lot of racism that happens in the South, but a lot of people don't understand that Virginia could be mad fucking racist as well.
What? In the right places in Boston.
One of those places,
like racism, sexism, all this stuff. It's everywhere. It's just to level differences or how much it's expressed publicly. I think that's the bigger thing. Is a lot of people might do it in their own house, and because of fear of the consequences, instead of doing it in public, that's what changes them. And there have been politicians lately that have been doing it in public. And some of these people have gotten where they feel like, oh, if he can do it in public, I can do it in public. And I feel like that's what's making a lot more division in our country in America. Is we do have some of these people.
So speaking of politics.
Yes.
Speaking of politics, and you said some politicians, is there anyone particular that you want to inquire about?
We all know exactly. I really don't even like his name anymore.
Reinforcing and media.
I really am so disappointed.
Do it start with a D and end with a T?
It absolutely does.
Do the first name start with a D and the last name ends with a T?
Oh, God, yes. It's the Antichrist himself. It's the one that does everything backwards. And I mean, look. If he literally, the things he said, I'm pro-America first, and I'm actually going to get the corrupt people out of Washington. If he actually did those things, you would never hear me complain. If he actually stood by his word. But his word was just to get to elected, and then he got in there, and the people he brought in were all people who were more corrupt than the people already up there, which I really didn't even know was possible at times. We know there's a lot of corrupt politicians in America, but good Lord, there was an influx when he came in.
But let me just say this one thing, Charles. Charles, Charlie, how do you prefer me call you?
Just I prefer Charlie because that's the best
Okay,
I've ever wanted to be.
Okay, got you. Charlie. Okay, got you, Charlie. Got you. All right, Charlie. No, my good buddy, man, his name is actually Charles, but we call him Charlie. But yeah, Charlie. So let's go ahead and get this. Let's go ahead and put this out in the opening for one. Politicians are corrupt, but they're no different from the everyday, ordinary American citizen. Okay, I feel as though we all have corruption, and none of us is pure. None of us are legit. The things with politicians is the fact when you have power and money and status, your level of corruption goes to different heights in which that it's not seen. It's not seen as the everyday corruption by everyday citizens. Okay,
No, it's
and
opportunity.
therefore, but when you have that pushing force, that driving force, it could be many factors. One, a few that I mentioned previously, which is money, power, respect. All those factors go into play when it comes to politicians that are corrupt. And it also gives them leeway, right? It gives them leeway to continue on with it because they feel untouchable.
The lawmakers.
And yes, they lawmakers, they feel untouchable because you know what? If I say that no one can steal, but I can steal because I've written this law, and I know that there could be like a minimum within that law that I don't even know, but I don't know of, but they may know of, that they can go ahead and work their way around those certain laws. It gives them a power. It gives them a power placement. And my thing is like far as in the government, realistically speaking, I don't think no one is just. Honestly, I don't think. No, honestly, I'm just keeping that. I'm keeping that frank. I'm keeping that 100. On some real shit. I really feel as though no one is just. Anyone and everyone that works in politics, including you, Charlie. Okay, had maybe I'm not saying it's not just, but at the end of the day, seen things or heard things or had to maneuver in a way that was not beneficial to what they call have more like being morally ethic. And sometimes that's just the case. It's just the case, Same thing with lawyers. Like, yes, you can get a client that want to book you to help represent them, but if you know if that lawyer that client is a repeated sex offender, a rapist, and a killer, and yet you represent them because you need to pay your light bill, I mean, those morals kind of go out the fucking window, and it's no different with politics.
I don't consider that position on that one immoral. That one is a doing your job. I mean, as the reality is, yes, they're not a good person, but they are entitled. They are considered innocent till proven guilty. So yes, they may have all that, but at the time, you're supposed to represent them as if they've never committed a crime. No, that's only fair. It's only fair of a situation because if you do go in there with the guy's always guilty, you're going to see Alabama.
A history. But if someone have a history, Charlie, this is what I'm getting at. If someone have a history, and it's proven, and it's facts, and they have a history. Same thing for DT, that's running. I'm not going to say his name because it's not a politic podcast, but you know who I'm talking about, and everyone who's listening and viewing knows who I'm talking about. You have a history.
Mm-hmm.
Because of those factors I've mentioned before, as far as power, money, reputation, distorted reputation to the public's eye, you can get away with certain things. And so I'm not saying that all politics are shady business. Mind you, I'm from D.C. I'm from Washington, D.C. I'm literally from Politics City, okay? So I'm not saying anything out of my ass. I'm just literally saying that there's some times in which I may have inadvertently went to a few bars on Capitol Hill and chilled and talked it up with a few politicians and, government officials, not really understanding what they were saying because it was a bit drunk, but then put two and two together, it was like, oh shit, hold up. I did kind of like see you on a press conference the other day, just because. But for the most part, there's a level of secrecy, a level of sacrifice that does come with that particular position because you're not only thinking about one person or one demographics, you're thinking about the entire country, okay? And with that, it comes with ups and downs. Sometimes you cannot please everybody.
No,
you can't.
Your job.
And sometimes some people are gonna be hurt.
That's one of the keys.
That's the reason why we have political parties.
That's one of the reasons why we have political parties. I don't subscribe to here's an idea. I subscribe to what's the problem, what's the solution. And my solution must be the one that gives me the most positive outcome, that solves the problem I'm looking at with the least amount of drawbacks or cons. I look at that for every outcome. So I don't sit here and go, well, I believe in this because my party believes this. I don't give a damn what this person or that person thinks. I don't give a damn what anybody thinks. But I do take everybody's words in. Like, even if I disagree with you, I'm going to take what you said and go, okay, here's how he feels. All right, add that to my memory bank, because other people feel like you. I honestly believe most people in Washington are probably not the best. But at the same point, there's probably a few of them that really are completely good people trying to do the right thing. It's a horrible place. But we can actually fix it. Like, that's the thing. I think everybody thinks, oh, it's just completely destroyed. It's just too corrupt. Like, no. It's only a thing or two here or there. You really could change it just by a few ethics laws, some term limits, things like that. You could get a lot of that corruption out. There's good people at everything, just like there's bad people at everything. And politicians, only in America do we look at them as, oh my God, they're all evil. It's like there's countries where there's like no political corruption because they have hard ethics laws. You're looking at Australia, New Zealand, they really cut down on that. And if you do things right, you can get that situation. If you got those corrupt people out of office, they're the ones that are stopping the advancement of our country. They're the ones that's making sure that a lot of people aren't eating, because their policy makes sure those people aren't eating. It's those policy that make sure those people are homeless. So if we got those people out with proper ethics laws, which is only going to happen when somebody has enough balls to push them through, because the government we have is really worked by two sets of people. One group who's got balls, but either they're corrupt or don't or dumb, so they're not going to have the best answers, but they're going to benefit themselves no matter what they do. And then you got a bunch of people who are literally trying to look for solutions that will help everybody, but they don't have the balls to stand up and fight for what they want. So a lot of people look at them as a bunch of cowards that are just playing heartstrings, because we've never seen them in power literally start knocking stuff off the list that America needs. So people don't trust that side either. And having a person that has both the brains and the balls, I know what to do, I know how to get it done, and I'll get everybody on side, or I'll get you out of here, because I know that if you stopping me from doing the right thing, you aren't a good person. You are not here to do what politicians were supposed to do and were created to do, which is actually look at our problems as a society and fix them. That's supposed to be us working together. The ultimate everybody thing. All of us working together. We don't have that right now, and we need to put that back in our country.
No, you're absolutely right. So I don't want to go too deep into politics, but may I just ask just one quick, brief question as far as when you was in politics? Are you able to mention, I'm not sure if you underneath any NDA, but are you able to disclose as far as what politician in which that you was working with?
I ran for Congress. I lost my own campaign. Then I started working for
Congress for where?
The United States of America. The 5th Congressional District.
When was this?
2022.
Like what year?
Just the previous election. I lost in the primary. The lady who beat me was Kathy Warner Stanton. I helped her all the way. We lost in the general election in November to who is now the representative of North Alabama, Del Strong, who is a strong Trump supporter. As much as anyone say his name, that's who it is. I know for a fact, through people that worked in his campaign, people I know personally, connections we actually have, there's things about him I do question. I know that as I was an independent until I decided to run, because I'm still an independent mentally, but I run as a Democrat, and now I am helping the Democratic Party, especially when I have a party that's going authoritarian and really wants to get rid of democracy. I'm like, you can't fix the country when only one person gets to decide how it runs. If we're going to fix it, we've got to fix it for everybody. We got to do it the right way. So I joined the Democrats because money is politics is a money game, and independently you can't make the money. You can if you pick a side, and you have to do that. Even when I ran, when I would ask for money and I'd ask companies for money, I would tell them, my platform is my platform. It's not there to make you happy. I'm not going to change my platform to make you happy. I'm not going to vote for what you want. I'm going to vote for what actually makes the best decision for all of us. And you would give me money based on the understanding that that's what you were getting as the person who wasn't just going to say, hey, this guy paid me $10 million to vote to make sure oil can kill our country or steal more money or this or whatever. I'm not going to do that. You're paying me because you're sending me up there to do the job right. Because that money, see, people play for money and power because they crave money and power because it's greed. Greed always makes more greed. I don't give a damn less about power. I know what to do with it, though. And I want to make the world right, because if you do the right thing with power, if you actually use it the right way, you can get something that money can't buy. And I was, integrity. You can develop a legacy. You can become something bigger than a human. Humans are expected to bow to power because they always have bowed to power. So when you don't bow to power, you're on a level above human at that point, because you're not what humans do. You proved that you're better than the average person because you went and purged yourself of that huge anchor around your neck of greed that's in most all of us at birth.
Yeah. Speaking of which, purging yourself from greed, the anchor of greed, in which that you clearly exclaimed. Can I just ask just one quick question, because your bio was a bit brief. And I really wanted to really get to know you, but I feel as though we're just going to freeball this particular episode, and I do love that. I do love freeballing. But I do have a few questions that I do want to ask personally. And one of them was the fact that you being a former drug dealer. So how did one become from being a former drug dealer and to get into politics? Because I can understand being a business owner, psychologist, chemist, being a podcaster, all those other things that can wrap around that. But where do politics fit into all of this? Is where I'm kind of curious. And how did you get into that?
My grandfather started teaching me business at 3. I was a very gifted child, so I had abilities that most people will not have at that age. My grandfather was a businessman. He was also a college professor in industrial robotics and electricity. So he was a very intelligent man. And with my intellect and having a college professor in the house, he put that love of knowledge in me. And he also put a chip on my shoulder where I've got to prove every day that I'm better than myself, because I'm better than everyone when I put my work into this. And I want to show the world that I put in so much work and so much development and my own intelligence and my own understanding of the world through psychology, understanding how people think, through business, through all of that, to put it all together. I never wanted to be a politician. I'm not a natural politician, but I'm a natural problem solver, and I'm a guy that can get everybody lined together because I'm a natural leader. I was raised. My grandfather had went through 2 wars, the Korean War and the Vietnam War, as a sergeant. He was actually in charge of a recon platoon, so he was in Korea. So he was frontline battlefield. He led men to death, and he showed me how to lead men the right way. So he taught me all that. At 9 years old, I sold my first intoxicant. I wasn't even drug dealing. I was just sitting on my front porch, and a friend came up. He convinced me to sell him paint thinner, and as such, I noticed he was, wanting it so bad. I talked him out of all his money for just a little bit. I learned right then, knowing business, well, you don't sell drugs. Drugs sell themselves. You just happen to supply drugs. These people are actually self-medicating psychologically. I've noticed all this. I learned all this. They've had a lot of trauma in their childhoods, and they're trying to feel normal because they don't feel normal because of everything that's happened to them. It's completely give them these mental disorders and psychology issues. So being that and getting to be in that world and understand everybody, because it is what it is. You can go to business school and learn business, or daddy can buy you all the way through it. What did you learn? Nothing. There's a gentleman from Greece named Thucydides. We're talking centuries ago, 2 millennia ago. He said most men are created about equal. The difference is in how savage the school is. Well, you go to business school at Harvard and daddy buys your grades. School wasn't savage. You didn't have any negativity. So whatever you didn't learn didn't matter because there was no consequences. I learned business drug dealing. I learned business as an 11-year-old because the first time I walked into middle school, I saw a kid with money. How'd you get that? I do this. Well, I've sold drugs already as by myself, the first intoxicant. So I'm like, well, I know how to do this already. I already know the premise. It's a supply and demand thing. So I jumped in head first because, hey, I like making money. It's nice having new Jordans on your feet. It's nice, having a nice starter jacket back then. It was always nice having good, having nice things. So
looking fly.
Absolutely. Trying to get the honey numbers, Gotta get them honey dips. So I went into the business. And then I realized real quick that if you're going to be a criminal for a business, you need to be smart. The criminal brain must be smarter than the regular brain because you have to make sure the consequences are so much worse. If I make a mistake, I get a bullet in my head or I go to jail. I always said the end game of drug dealing is jail or hell. That's the end game. If you do this long enough, you will meet one of those endings. I learned all that. I learned how savage it was. I lived in a life where if I made a business mistake, I could die at any moment. So I learned how to do business on an extremely good level. I learned how to play the game of power. Because, it is a game in itself. You have to know when you have to control the argument, when you have to set a person up because they're trying to negotiate against you, even if there's not negotiation on the table. The way businessmen and men of power think, the men who are playing for that game, how they think, you've got to be able to outthink them. And when you have a gun to your head and you're 11 years old and these are 25 and 30-year-old men who've been around this life, they know what they're doing. And now you insulate yourself. And instead of being a street guy, on the corner with the drugs, you've got people doing it for you and they don't even know they work for you because you've insulated yourself so well that you have friend of yours coming to you when you work and laughing about how much money they make, not realizing all the drugs they sold and all the money they're making is going to go to the house. And I get my cut off of them. They don't even realize they're making my money and they're talking back to me because of this. I learned real quick how to be a gangster, an actual business criminal. But yeah, exactly. But I was really intelligent and I was able to go to college because I was able to get scholarships because I was talented. So the second I was old enough to go to college, I was going to take a bunch of drugs with me to college because I knew I could sell and make bank. And I was immediately put in a sit down with all of these drug dealers and told, this is not happening. You are off. You're out. You have a chance. All of us wish we had. You can do something. We wish we could. We can't get off this game. This is an end for life. And you've got a potential to go do something better than we could ever do. So I gave up the business.
That's respect.
They did. They even called their friends and dealers in Birmingham to make sure that I was on a blacklist there. Like, he's not allowed.
Yo, that is some real ass shit.
They loved me. Honestly, that's true love right there. They were making money. Screw the money. We want better for you. Yeah, it's respect.
On the streets, that's respect.
Yeah.
That's respect, bro. Like, the fuck? They see your potential and they know that you have the potential to do so much more.
Yeah, so I went to college.
It was like, you know what? Bro, go ahead, like, become more. Be better than us. You know what I'm saying? Like, not only was it just your way out, but it was also your way through. And that right there, that is some OG shit right there.
But you got to think.
That is some OG shit.
Because of being in that life, I've ended up so around that life multiple times, even if I'm not in it. Like, working security, you work in security in the right places, you better end up back around that life. You're adjacent to it. And you see the problems everybody's having. You see how it all works. You really get to know what people are going through. And, my thing was, I want people to have a better life. So I realized that a lot of our problems come from some of our policies, and they create some of these drug issues. They create some of these problems. And I put all of it together, all of my knowledge from the streets and how things work there and how things work in the real world and how things work as a person who's worked for companies and running my own business. Because that's the thing. Most people that are businessmen, they only know the business side of it, the top part. Then there's the workers that only know the working part. I literally have been on both sides with single proprietors or corporations. I know all of the balances.
So you see both sides of the coin.
Exactly. So I know where the lines should be to make it an ethical society, to where the workers treated respectfully and the owners treated respectfully, and they can't take advantage of each other, but they can negotiate for whatever because, you're only worth what you can negotiate. You're not worth what you're actually worth in this country. It's what you can negotiate. And since I had no choice but to learn how to negotiate such a hard way, I'm a great negotiator, and I'd like to help and remedy a lot of that situation.
So do you speak about this in your podcast? Because I noticed you're also a podcaster.
This is my podcasting. It's when I come on all these shows. So
So you're a podcast. So you come on as a
guest.
The Dash It Out show. You're a co-host. So this is your podcast. Okay, cool,
and yes,
great.
Every show I go on, no matter what we talk about, like the last podcast I was on was a lady who was about a trauma psychologist. And I was telling her about all the things I learned in the drug game, all the things I learned from people who are friends of mine who have been diagnosed with disorders. And I can tell them about the past that these people had and how these disorders, and you can watch how it interferes in their life. We were talking about that, but using it. And she's like, well, why'd you come on here? Because my message for everyone in the world, no matter what you are, is the same. I'm here to fix all our problems because I actually know how to do it and I want to do it. I just want y'all to give me the power and the chance to go show you. So I'm there because I want her to know I'm coming with mental health if I get up there. I'm coming for the streets when I come up there. I'm coming for black men, white men, women, yellow men. I don't care. I'm here to make the better world, and I know how to do it because I know for a fact I'm him.
He's coming for us all, everyone. Charlie's coming for us all.
I just want to show you
God. Everyone and anyone can get it. It's on site.
Dude,
I love it.
It's like this.
I love it.
Either you can get a better world with me or you can be the problem and you can get these hands because they're ready to eat for everybody. Like I grew up that way. I grew up that way. Look, we're going to make a better world or I'll fight you for it because fighting for a better world is worth it. I will throw hands for a better world.
It, right? You got to stand for something or you fall for any fucking thing out in this world. And I know that's right. And you've taken all your life experiences, everything you've seen and done, and you cultivate it into your own brand.
Yes.
Okay? And I love that and I respect that.
See, a lot of people play characters. You know, they make a brand and that's a character. A certain guy we were talking about earlier, he made a brand. It's a character that he plays. My brand and me, it's the same thing. I am my brand and my brand is me. I'm just authentic. I'm as authentic as I can be and I just want everybody to know this is what it is. You can either help me get us there or you can be the problem I'm going to have to knock out to get us there. Either way, I'm getting us there.
No, that's right. So I'm going to go ahead and lighten this up a bit because we definitely was talking about a lot of very strong topics. And I love the energy. Good question. When is your birthday?
We just passed. It was 5 days ago. August 21st.
5 days ago. August 21st? Oh, you are Leo. I knew it. And it's funny, my father's birthday just passed as well. He's a Leo as well.
It's the most common birthday on account of it starts getting cold in November. Once it gets cold, everybody want to cuddle up. And you know how cuddling up goes. Cuddle up leads to something else, and 9 months later.
Hibernation season.
It is.
Hibernation season.
It is.
Yes.
And we all know there's a group of women that haven't been single all year for a certain reason. Now they're gonna get a man, and then once February and it starts warming up, they all of a sudden broke up again.
Once they're gonna dip, or they're gonna be like, that's when they're gonna show their true colors.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? It's only two actions when it comes to when the hibernation season ends. Either they want to they show their true colors and really see what you're made of, or they gonna dip and go elsewhere.
But let's not act like some men ain't doing the same exact thing.
No, but you right. I mean,
I don't want anybody because I think a lot of times and I've seen a lot of these dating shows, podcasts, and whatnot, where they're always railing on men or women, and it's like y'all don't realize that both of y'all do a lot of the same stuff. Now there are some good women out there, there's some good men out there, and if you get either one of those, take care of them, and you'll have a fantastic relationship. But there are some dirty lowdowns on both sides that will ruin your life, no matter if you're straight, gay, or what. And you just got those are just landmines for everybody. They had bad childhoods, or maybe they just put themselves on a pedestal or whatever. But there are people that will not make your life better. If you want peace in your life, find you somebody that makes your life better, makes you a better you, and you make them a better them. If those are the relationships that really work.
Oh yeah. Right. Find somebody that make you a better you, and that's the one that just have better sex. Because I'm not gonna lie, this is very against me because honestly, I'm that type of individual that's all open for better sex. But far as a better me, I'm still working on that.
That's a lifetime project, brother. Lifetime project.
It is. I'm at that point now, Charlie. Let me just say this. Look, I'm 29, okay? And I'm September, baby, Virgo. I'm at that point now where I kind of want more, you feel me? And I just moved from D.C. to New York. I also lived in Atlanta. I also lived in Boston. I lived in so many places, and I've met and fucked up a lot. Okay, I've done a lot. But my thing's just like, yo, where do you want? Like, do you want to settle down? I'm like, yes, I want to settle down. I want to have kids. I want to have the whole shebang, but I'm not sure if I'm really ready for that big old atypical American suburban fucking lifestyle. I still want to have my adventures. I still want to have a great time, but I still want to solidify my life on this earth, that a legacy that I can leave behind if things just go awry.
Yeah. It's simple though.
Hold on, give me 1 second. 1 second. The sun is coming through, and sometimes this happens. So let me go ahead and move this because my apartment is so fucking close to the sun.
No,
okay, there we go.
Understand what
and the sun is setting.
I think that's a trap a lot of men get into, where they think that if you're with somebody, you lose that part of you that's an adventure seeker, that you've locked yourself down, and that's not true. There are women out here who are just as much adventure seeking as you, and it's not, oh, I need to do this. It's me and baby girl going to go do this now. And y'all adventure seek together. That's a part of y'all's time together, your quality time. Because when y'all both go looking for that adventure, y'all together. That's quality time. If you're looking for somebody, that's a virtue for them. They want to be out and they want to still keep their youth. That way y'all raise this together and y'all still keep yourselves because y'all both want that life too.
It's not just settling down with
you don't think of it as settling down. Think of it as finding your life.
It's more the family aspect, Charlie, and I think that's where it become problematic in a sense, because it's like, as men, we want to have kids, we want to have a legacy, you know what I'm saying? We want to have, everything, but it's like I think that is when it becomes problematic, because I'm the runner. There's always two within a relationship, either the guy or the girl, who's always essentially the runner when it comes to the building the foundation, and in most cases or other instances, according to society standards, it's typically the guy who typically runs off, who don't want to be a part of it, but in my case, it was me.
Yeah.
So I guess the statistic wasn't always wrong. And I love her, childhood sweetheart, high school sweetheart, 10 plus years to this day. We still talk, we still have a great time. And I love her to death, but for the most part, I just kept seeing more for me. I just not see me as that. I felt like my options in life was going to be really diminished.
That's kind of the curse with
myself.
And the amount of options you have
in life would have been diminished if I allowed myself to go that route. But now I'm in that stage now, like 3 to 4, 5 years past. Now I'm thinking like, okay, maybe she was onto something. I wasn't ready then, but as of now, I'm definitely, I'm even at the point where they adopt or foster a fucking
That's what
dog.
It comes down to this a lot. As I said, when you're young, everything's new. There's more opportunities, more options. You have an experienced life and you want to get out there and experience life. And a relationship can hinder some of that experiment. Sometimes you do need more than one relationship. Some people can have their one relationship and they are set. They find something and it fits them and they're great. A lot of people aren't like that. A lot of people need to experience life, need to get out there and see what it's all about so they can decide what you yourself want to do. Because life can give you 1,000 directions. Some people, they know from birth, this is what I'm going to do, this is where I'm going, this is how I do it. Some people, that's why there's general studies majors in college, because you don't always know what you're going to do. You don't know what, and you could have multiple options. Like I could do this, man, I have, like, what do I do? Or you could have no options.
I mean, such as yourself as well. Well. And I noticed in your bio that you're also a comedian. So, can I tell you a little joke?
Oh, sure.
Okay. So, I'm not much of a comedian, but I do have a joke for you.
Go for it, brother.
Okay. What grows to become sturdy, stretches out when it's warm, but decreases in width and size when it's cold?
I mean, that's more like a riddle. I want to go straight to penis because that feels like the answer, but I know that's probably not because it's too obvious.
The thing is, in fact, it is a little bit more of a riddle. But it's like a riddle mixed with a little bad dad joke. Okay, so I'm gonna say this again. What grows to become sturdy, stretches out when it's warm, but decreases in width and size when it is cold?
Grow sturdy stuff. Grow sturdy makes me think of like a tree, or I don't know. I've got ideas, but I don't think I'm on the right track.
What do you say that you thought it was?
I thought it was a penis. The sturdiest part wouldn't make sense, but the rest would.
Okay, so What was the second thought?
The tree, wood, you know?
Woo! There we go. Your mind is dirty. Your mind is dirty.
Oh, dude. Hey, look. For me to be a good person, I had to be dirty. I honestly think that, you know, there's a lot of people, they're born, they're good people. They don't want to hurt anybody. There's people that are born, they just want to hurt people. Those two types of people exist. I was kind of more born on the, you know, if you're ready to go, we ready to go. I was raised, you know, a lot of my friends were 7 years older than me, 6, 7 years older than me when I was 5. So they'd pick on me. So I'd fight 12-year-olds because I was just like, I'm going at you. So I had kind of a bad attitude as a younger guy when I was a child. And I always wanted to be a better person. You know, I always wanted to improve, you know. So as that improvement in knowledge and all that world, that knowledge from the streets, that knowledge from wisdom, and that knowledge of book intelligence, all put together, I go from being what would you consider a very evil person to probably one of the best people you're going to meet. That's like, he's just going to be a good guy that does good things. And if you don't, you hit the line, you pass his boundary, he's going to knock you back across the boundary. It just goes into who I am as a person.
Well,
now,
when I mean dirty, I'm not meaning like
no.
dirty.
As I said, I'm always going to be dirty.
But you just had a dirty mind. But
I have a dirty mind, but I'm always dirty too. Like.
But that, I mean,
and I think that's because I'm human.
Dirty is very subjective as well.
Yeah,
it's very subjective.
And there's nothing wrong with having a dirty mind. There's nothing wrong with it because you're human.
That's curious mind.
It's literally a part of existing. You know,
for real.
Curiosities, or you know, then you have them, and you have this life experience. It might be, you know, sexually, you might have been snorting coke off a hooker's ass. It's a story you can tell in 20 years. Might not have been the best idea of the day, but it's a hell of a good story 20 years later.
No, for real, definitely had those moments.
And as I said, I do get on stage for comedy, but there's been times my comedy has helped people. I was in New York City. It was around Thanksgiving, right before they put up the tree in the square, the big tree at Rockefeller Center, right in that time frame. And it was about, I guess, 10, 12 years ago. And I was on a subway car, and it was during rush hour. I forget where I was going, but since I was in the city, I just hop on the subway and go see parts of the city. And I was on there, and there was this businessman, and he had his headphones on. He's trying to mind his own business. And besides him, a homeless guy that, based on my knowledge of psychology, I'm not going to make, you know, I wouldn't say he would need to get professionally diagnosed. But if I was making an outside, looking at the guy going, what I think could be wrong, the way he was talking to himself, I was like, maybe he's schizophrenic. Maybe he's got some crack addictions, because that would give you a sign of schizophrenia, even if it's not natural to you. But he was a homeless man. He might have been on some drugs, as I said, possibly crack, possibly meth. There was at least some mental disorders. And I noticed pretty quickly during this little train trip that he starts getting on the little... he started thinking the really business guy was a threat to him. And so he starts getting loud and aggressive. And he starts talking about hurting this guy. And after a while, you know, I don't know if it's a nature to most human beings, but they just try to stay. If it ain't my problem, stay away from it. And I'm big on it. Snitches get stitches, but I'm also, if you can fix a problem and not have to hurt anybody, you should be willing to step up and do that. So I use comedy, and I'm like, you know what? If this dude wants to fight somebody, I'm at least going to give him a reason to fight me, because I'm a shit talker. I'm going to crack jokes. So I start cracking jokes on this dude's wardrobe and whatnot, because I can just crack jokes. But what's funny, instead of him getting mad, he started laughing. He was enjoying it. Like, he was loving the attention, but also loving the fact that the jokes were funny. Like, you know, you could tell I wasn't trying to be serious. I was trying to keep it light. But he starts laughing. And then the whole train car starts laughing. And before you know it, I'm literally putting on like a 2-minute ride, the rest of this ride, just cracking jokes and making everybody laugh. We get to the next stop. The homeless guy gets off. And really, he thanks me before he gets off. This is the guy who was about really just to beat the brakes off of somebody for no reason. And now he's happy, smiling as he walks off the train. After the doors close, everybody in that room just starts having a conversation. Man, I've been here my entire life. I've never seen anything happen like this. I've never heard anybody even do this. And I'm like, dude, I've been here for 2 days. So, you know, my best advice, tip your bartenders, tip your waitresses, because I ain't going to be here for long.
Yo, so, okay, so that's where the comedian part come in with you. you're very eclectic. You have a very eclectic sense of nature, and also very eclectic personality. And as you can't really box you in. And I think I love that the most about you. And the reason why I'm so happy to have you as a guest here on the show. I feel as though you have a lot more to say and a lot more to do in this world. And I wish that you had a lot more to say and do here on the podcast. But unfortunately, time is ticking. But for the most part, for all my listeners and everybody who's tuning in right now, listening, however way you receiving this Dash It Out Show episode, where can the listeners find all your works, Charlie, and how can they get in contact with you?
My Twitter is the Charlie Truth, because I'm always about telling the truth. If you go on there right now, all my podcasts get put there because that's one of my big, that's got almost 9,000. I've built that within the last 2 years from nothing because I had my last one hacked to almost 10,000 now, to 10,000. I'm getting up there. I'm working on trying to get me an agent, so maybe I can get more podcasts and also get to national television, because I think, I'm an entertaining person. You'll never look at me and go, man, I'm not entertained. Even if you don't agree with me, you're at least entertained by me, because I'm an open-minded, having fun kind of guy. I do have my Facebook. I have a regular Facebook, which that's just for my personal friends, and I have a political Facebook. None of my friends are on my political Facebook, but that's where you see a lot of that. That's you can look that up. You send me in a nice suit. You'd be surprised. I might dress down, but I dress up quite nice too. A former Miss America once said, "Man, I didn't know you could look that good." And I was like, "Well, I'm just lucky you can polish a penny."
Yeah. So Twitter would be your primary source of.
You can ask me any question over there. You can ask me about any policy you question or anything. You can ask me about certain politicians that I have. Some of them. There's a lot of politicians up there I have met personally. There's a lot of situations I know because of insiders have told me, hey, this is actually what happened. This was what was said. This is actually what it is. So I do get some information, especially I know a lot about the state party. I have a lot of connections there. And there's a lot of politicians in Montgomery, where I'm at, in Huntsville and in Alabama. So nationally is where I really focus, because I think a lot of our problems as a group is nationally more than anything. But each individual state has their own problems. We have enough here. And that's got to be some changes in leadership. And I think we have some corrupt politicians here that need to go too, because I think that's at every level of society. So yeah, those are the two places. I'm always open to anybody that wants to ask me anything or talk to me or bring me on shows, because I just want to connect to everybody.
Yeah. So all the information will be linked in the description or in the bio, anywhere where it's located nowadays, left, right, up, bottom. I don't care where it's located. It will be listed there. And Charlie, thank you so much for coming on the show. Can we all just give a round of applause to my awesome co-host, Mr. Charlie Thompson?
I appreciate it. It was absolutely a pleasure.
Woo!
I enjoyed it.
Well, you've been a vibe. You've been real. You've been insightful. Keep fighting a strong fight. And you definitely, I would love to have you back on the show.
I'd love a chance. When you have a chance, I'd love to come back.
Vibe with your energy. You a vibe. No, for real. I would definitely hit you up and come on for a part 2.
Absolutely.
No, seriously.
I'd love to.
I find it really interesting how the season, I met a lot of great co-hosts that came onto the show, and I would definitely come on back.
Hell.
I really feel as though the story has not been told.
It's not even finished written yet. I've got years to write this thing still.
We got one chapter in. We haven't even finished the fucking book.
Nah.
But for the most part, everybody, Charlie Thompson. I'm your host, Vic Tour. This is the Dash It Out Show. And of course, follow us on social media at www.mydashitout.com. Everything, anything, and everything will be listed there, including this particular episode. And also follow us on social media at Dash It Out, or wherever you're going to find it, but it's going to be only one Dash It Out, okay? Until next time.
Have a good one.